Hey there guys! Welcome back to another video, and as you can see I'm still stuck with the arrays, but this is not some fancy class about the arrays. It's just probably one or two things fancy over here. The first one is how you can limit the size as the user wants, and the next one is how you can pass the functions, how you can pass array to the function. So say for example your user came to you and said that, hey dude, I want a program which can calculate array average of students I have, the marks of the students I have, and calculate the average, not the average of the students, the average of the marks obtained by students. And he said that at any given time I can have maximum marks for 100 students and not more than that. Sometimes I may have marks for only 10 students because others didn't appear for exam, or I just don't want to calculate the average of those students. So here's what he has told you. He has told you that maximum number of marks I can have is 100. So that means he can have 100 students and their marks. So we will have our maximum size as 100 at any given time. We can have more than this too, but we are just going to stick 100 for them. And then we are going to ask him that how many students do you have. So I'm just going to name that variable n over here, and then we will see what we need from there. So I'm going to say printf enter the number of students you want the average for, and that's all we are going to print. And then we are going to take the input in the number n, scanf %d variable n. Okay, so now I'm going to make an average function in which I'm going to pass that a array and the maximum size, the number of students he has. And before that I'm going to take the input from the user, so I need an I. Printf, or we're going to take the input in a better way, for I equal to 0, I is less than. Now here's the thing, we want the now we want, say if he says that he has only 10 students and the marks of only 10 students, so he will input 10 over here. So now we want to take input of only 10 students, not 100. So it will be in this n variable. So now our loop will vary from I to n, and then it will go one by one. Again, why we did this n is because we want the user to enter the maximum size he wants to enter data for. The maximum size can be 100, not more than this. But if say he has only 50 students, he will enter 50 over here, and in that case we want our loop to only run 50 times, or we want to take only 50 values in our array. So that's why we are just variating till the n, or you can say the number of students the user has. And then we are going to say to user that printf enter the marks for %d student. Now here's the thing, you know that our I is variating from 0 to 1, so for the first loop it will say enter the marks for 0 student. It doesn't make sense, so we are going to say I plus 1. It's not gonna make any change in I, but what it's going to do is it will get the value of I first, which will be 0. It will add 1 to it, so 0 plus 1 will become 1, and I will become 1. Then it will give 1 plus 1, 2. You will see it in the execution. Then we are going to take the input in the array for I column. And then that's our for loop, and then we will call this function. So now let me just declare this function, and I'm not gonna return anything. I'm just gonna print everything inside my function, void. And what we're going to do over here is we're going to name the function avg. And here's the thing, so we declared like this, right? Int. Well, this is sufficient, but you can also give these variables over here, give this type some name over here. So I'm just gonna give this name an array A, and this I'm going to give size. Okay, that's my declaration. Now we will go to our function definition, void avg. So I'm just gonna keep the same names as I gave it on the declaration, and size. Now what will happen is, whenever I call this function, say over here I call this function over here, this A array will be copied into this A array, and this n will be copied into this size. And here's the thing, since I cannot do it, I can have this in my declaration like this over here, but over here I need to give it a maximum size, so I'll give it 100. And maybe in the declaration we also have to give a maximum size. I will just see if it throws any error. I don't really think so we do, so we will see if we have to. So now how we calculate the average is we calculate the sum of all the marks divided by the number of marks we were given. So you calculate the sum first. So here's how we do. Now see, I have to get the sum of everything inside this array. So for example, the user inputs the marks for 3 students, and he inputs 10, 20, and 30. So the average will be 10 plus 20 plus 30 by 3. In that case, the average will be 60 by 3, which is 20. So I want to calculate the sum of all the elements inside this. So here's how I do it. For the loop, I need a variable called I. And as I told you in the scopes term, that this I will be different than this I because of the different blocks. So now we get a for loop. I is equal to 0, and we know that we have this maximum number of n values inputted in the array, and this n gets copied to size. So now our columns will be less than the size. You can just name it n over here. If you have any problems, you can just name it n over here. I'm gonna change it to n for you guys, so that you don't get confused between this size and this n. So I will be still less than n, I plus plus. And here's the thing, we do sum plus equal to a of I. So we're gonna set the sum equal to 0 first. So that's pretty much it for our for loop. And as I told you, that this line basically will be equal to sum plus AI. So let's just take the same values 20, 20, 30 for 3 students. Sum will be 0 first, and I will be also 0 first. So here will be replaced by 0. We're gonna replace this by 0, and AI. So A 0 because I is 0, and 10, 20, 30 is our value. So first time this will be 10. 10 plus 0 is 10, so sum will now be equal to 10. Now for the next iteration, sum plus A I. Now I will be equal to 2, so let me just replace this I by, I will be equal to 1, so let me just replace this I by 1. Now we took values 10, 20, 30, so A1 will be 20. E1 will be 20, and the sum was now equal to 10. So 10 plus 20 is 30. So the next time A2 will be taken, so we took the values 10, 20, 30. So now A2 is 30. So 30 plus 30 is 60. So it's working how it's supposed to. So it was just to explain you that what does plus equal to mean. Plus equal to means sum is equal to sum plus AI. So that's what the plus equal to means, just a reminder. Now we have the sum, and we know that the average is equal to sum divided by the number of the total values. So we do average is equal to sum by the number of values is n. That's it. And because we are declaring this, so we need a variable called average, and now we print this average. Or we can do one more thing to reduce the number of variables. Instead of making a variable called average, we can directly print sum that is equal that the average. We can directly print that the average is an integer, and that integer is nothing but sum divided by n. Sum divided by n. And that's what we are going to print. This is pretty much it, our function. I think it should work, so let's just find out. We're going to compile it, and we're going to run it. So I say I have marks for 10 students. Enter those marks for student 1. He scored 2. The second student scored, say, a 90. Third student scored a 99. And the rest of them sucked, so they scored 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And the last student, say, was a brilliant one, and he scored 100 out of 100. So here's the thing. The average is 35. So what happened over here is, I took the input, so this works for normal parade that you see. Just the difference is that we inputted the number of maximum size the user wants, and it cannot be more than 100. So if I try to input more than 100 over here, say if I input over 101, this will change to 101, and it will try to take input in the 101 in the last iteration, which is not possible, so it will throw me an error and break. I mean, the program will stop running. So it cannot be more than 100. It has to be less than 100, in which our case was 10, so it's good. You can just check a condition over here that, hey, like you can check that if n is greater than 100, print f, please enter a value smaller or equal to 100. So this is just to show the user that, hey, we cannot handle more than 100 values. So if the n is greater than 100, it will just throw the error. And obviously you can just stop the program executing over here by using the function called exit0. So okay, now where was we? Yeah, so say we input the n 10, so it will take only 10 values for the AI, for the array A, and then we pass that array A and the maximum size we have to the average function. And what happens when this average function gets called is that this A gets copied to this A, so all the values we inputted in this A over here will now be in this A in the same indexes, and this n gets copied to this n. So this n was 10 over here, so we got the 10 over here, and then this code executes, and then we get the printed the average. So that's how we can work with our arrays and functions together. To pass multi-dimension, you can just have this over here, a multi-dimensional array over here, and then a multi-dimension thingy over here. Then do your thingy as you need to. We can do that, and that's pretty much it. There is one more way, but we are not gonna see that right now, because for that we will need to study pointers first. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any doubts, please leave it in the comment section below. This was a short program, but too much to explain. Basically just two things, but still those two things matter a lot. So if you have any doubts, please leave it in the comment section, and I will try to help you out. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.